with me today. I have the great pleasure of introducing you to Emily Zubi. She is the founder, CEO of the Zubi Group, and of course, the wonderful foundation, Miami Women Who Rock. She's doing a lot in our community, and I want to introduce you to her right now and get started because her history is amazing and she has so much to teach us.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction.
Of course, Emmy. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I know we've been working together a little bit here in the community newspaper. You have your podcast as well, Spotlight, correct?
Yes.
And you've done amazing work in our community, and your history, your backstories are so amazing. So let's start there. So tell me a little bit about where you're from.
Well, I was born in New Jersey, Jersey City. I'm a Jersey girl, and moved down here to Miami to start up MTV. So I moved down here in '93. Wow. But I went to school, went to college, in New York.
What college did you go to?
I went to Rutgers University.
Okay. What was your major?
It was communications and business with a third in psychology. Because I couldn't just major in one thing.
I could see the psychology in your business. I can honestly tell you there's an element there of caring, right?
I thought at one point I wanted to be an attorney, actually, really? Growing up. And then I said to myself, well, I don't know, but, maybe a psychiatrist. And no, that wasn't going to work out either.
So I know you've been in many industries, and I was in shock of how many industries you've worked in. Can you share a little bit about all the industries that you've been in?
So my career that has spanned over 40 years has taken 7 industries. So starting with Wall Street, being the first Latina on Wall Street at Goldman Sachs, and everything has like about 5 to 7 year span. And as soon as I've gotten to the top of that industry, then I decided to reinvent myself. And so I went from Wall Street to TV. I went to Telemundo, and
what did you do in Telemundo?
I took a 95% pay cut to go into the TV business.
Wow.
And it was the craziest thing. People thought I was crazy. The guys that were interviewing me thought, but I knew a producer that from Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, and
I remember that.
Yeah, and I knew TV people because I used to go yachting in Sag Harbor in the summers on Wall Street. So I had met a lot of different really powerful people, and I started a folder on Sumner Redstone, and I just started studying TV brands and what was going on with the studio business, and knew that I wanted. Wall Street was hard. It was hard work. I mean, I'd get up 4:30 in the morning and not get home till like 9 o'clock at night.
How was it being a woman amongst all those men?
It was challenging. I did some training, and the great equalizer was the fact that I would put them in front of a video camera, and I did presentation skills training. So I was trained by Communispond, and one of the things they said to me is, Emily, you're going to be in a classroom of all men.
Wow.
And they would. Yeah, and they were not, they told me there are people that went to Harvard and then those they wish they had. And they said to me, what makes you think, you went to school at Rutgers, that you can teach these men? And the person interviewing me at the time was a double DBA, and he had his feet on the desk and had a cigar in his, and I've told this story to many people. And, at that point, I didn't even care if I got the job. I said, well, first we're going to put the cigar down and take the feet off the desk, and we're going to sit back and I'm going to teach you about communication styles. And this is what they're going to need to learn the most, And he, by the time I was done with him, he offered me the job on the spot.
Wow. I think it's the confidence that you portray, right? Because that's something you have. You have a lot of confidence. And I know you carry a lot of good things with you when you go to things. Like you said in one interview that I saw, you said, faith is important. And, you're not scared of the word no. I mean, you've heard it so many times, but that doesn't stop you, So you carry yourself very important. I think that's very important that women carry themselves properly in an interview or anywhere in life, basically, right? And you carry yourself well. Who do you think gave you that confidence and that perseverance to be that? Because to say to him, just put your cigar down and your legs down, that shows how confident you are.
Or crazy. I don't
No, that's not crazy. That's confident.
I mean, yeah, I think I grew up very young. I mean, I was the eldest of four, and my mother, she suffered with mental illness, and I had to kind of really take on leading the family and taking care of the family. So, I was a caretaker from early on, and that, I mean, my brothers and sisters till this day tease me because, they're like, "You're not the boss of us." And I'm like, "Oh, I think I am." But that leadership just came, early on, and I just took care of the family, and very early on, by my 20s, I was making a lot of money and taking care of my family. So, that out of that necessity comes the drive. And I never looked back. I mean, it was just one of these things where, I believe that God has every pain in my life that I ever had to go through, he's given me a purpose. Amen. And everything, no matter what it was. And, some of the toughest times when I had to rise to the top, maybe at the time it was really challenging, but when I look back now, it's what made me.
Wow. That's, I could relate to that because I think that there's a word that you're missing. It's called forgiveness. You're able to forgive certain things in life to be able to move forward. I mean, I think that's so important to know how to take some negative and make it into positive. And in that process, whatever was painful, you forgave and look where you are here today. So it's amazing what you've done. So tell me a little bit about the Zubi group. I mean, you've been in so many industries, and what led you to go on your own and open this wonderful group?
So I have a holding company, and I have several companies underneath that. So I had done a lot of marketing and launched 15 TV networks. I was the first female-owned media rep company, and started this company where I was really good at selling. And so what I did was I would help channels, networks, 15 networks, launch with revenue and with marketing. And now with the Zubi group, what I've done is taking really all of that experience, and I've coined a term, patent pending, sparketing, which is marketing reimagined and branding in the AI era for private equity groups. And instead of going to, say, one brand, I've just seen the writing on the wall in terms of marketing budgets and everything else. So I was at a venture capital event last night, and as we were saying earlier, you could take the woman out of Wall Street, but you take the Wall Street out of the woman. And now working with brands to be able to use my expertise, in a healthcare platform. I mean, there are $3 trillion buckets right now in the industry, and, always about the consumer, fintech, and healthcare. And so here I have a healthcare platform, and it all fits from a brand perspective. A healthcare, a platform that focuses on health and giving back, Miami Women Who Rock, which is our platform. And then the boutique agency really is the place where I do my consulting to help brands stay ahead, not keep up,
stay ahead.
Stay and get ahead. And in today's ever-changing, market, I've had the honor and the privilege of working with the multinational 500 companies around the world, Adidas in Germany, L'Oreal in Paris. So, wow. I mean, from the beginning, seeing what brands have made it, what brands haven't. What do you think it's for it to make it, what is one key component that they need to have? Authenticity.
Okay.
Authenticity, and that has to show through in the content. Brands need to underpromise and overdeliver. I'm
underpromise and overdeliver.
Yeah. I think if you're a brand that says you can do all these things and yet you don't do them, and telling the story. The best book that I ever read that I suggest to all, like I have a CEO circle, is Simon Sinek. Know your why. You start with why. Your story is so important to brands. I mean, they were talking about it last last night, and there are founders who they're in love with their story, in love with their brand, and they can have the best invention in the world and the best app and all these, wonderful things. They're tied to it emotionally, but yet don't know how to share their story and don't know how to turn that into consumers. Right?
That's really hard.
That bottom, you could be the greatest thing, but you're in a you're in a foxhole. No one knows who you are if you don't know. And content is king now. So, getting that word out and being able to share, media, long gone are the days of buying a Super Bowl commercial and expecting everyone to
buy.
Say, oh, so-and-so, like nowadays, marketing is ever changing, everlasting, ever fresh, evergreen.
We were talking about Nike when Nike came out with a commercial, and I was talking to you about Cracker Barrel. When the consumer comes and says, hey, I don't like this, you need to act, at least I would, as an owner, that I would actually react immediately to their comments or listen to maybe what the next direction is. Is that the right way of approaching it?
Well, a lot of it's so different. It's no cookie cutter. It's different strokes for different folks. And I have a specialty. My specialty. I stay within the healthcare space. Healthcare and beauty, and that's what I relate to. I know what lipstick I like, and I know what I need to do to stay healthy. So I try to stay within my specialty of brands within that A, I have a story, and B, I have a connection. And the third part of it is brands that give back. I think nowadays having corporate social responsibility, and that is one pivot the Zubi group did. I mean, I used to focus in on a couple years ago, luxury brands that gave back, and very fun. It was nice, and I made some really great contacts. But at the end of the day, I needed more. And, being able to, I started working with a stem cell client out of Mexico, Life Altering Stem Cell Institute, and actually did the treatment myself. And I mean, what happened was revolutionary, and, being able to share that. But companies only move the needle if it's authentic, if it's real, if it's delivering, and, and the story behind the brand is critical.
Extremely important. I feel like that's the only way you can connect when you purchase something. I have a connection to it. Or going to a facility. You have to feel comfortable and happy there. So I want to bring up the congratulations. You got London Magazine. London Weekly. How was that feeling when they picked you?
Well, what's interesting is that our network is based on.
You look beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. The Book of Rockstar Leaders really put us on a map globally, because we featured some leaders that are global leaders, that have global businesses. So Mendez Vela Group. I mean, yes, they're here, but they also do business in Italy and so forth. And part of our platform with Miami Women Who Rock is based on my 40 plus career that took me from New York to LA in the studio business, but also took me from New York to London. Wow. So I would have an apartment, a flat at St. George's Square when I was on Wall Street. And, so our database is it's very sticky. When I tell everyone on social media that our stories get 300 views in the first hour, I mean, I take snapshots of it. And the reason being is because they're real people that, that I've done. I mean, when I launched People Express Airlines, I mean, probably I'm still in contact with that whole community. And, believe it or not, like 30% of them, because we used to travel to London, moved to London or have homes in London. So our community is very diverse and, still having a footprint. So this came about, and it's really exciting.
So let's talk about the book.
Yes.
Book of Rockstar Leaders. Congratulations. I know this was a long time coming. So tell me about your idea about the book and how you came about it. And I know there's wonderful ladies in there, but tell me everything about your process to get to this book.
So I have like 3 books in the works, but this one I wanted to celebrate.
You're so busy. I don't know how you do it all.
I wanted to celebrate leadership legacy. And my mother-in-law, that is Zubi Zareta, who, I was just talking about her this morning, was truly legendary. She was more of a mom to me in many ways than my own mom. And she gave me a coffee table book that I have on my table. And she said to me, it's always important to have a beautiful coffee table book because you want something for the ages.
Right.
And that kind of stayed with me. And I thought, you know what? I mean, yeah, I've been on TV and I've done all these things, but I'm in the legacy era of my life. And I wanted to leave something behind that, that'll be there for the ages. And I wanted to take a snapshot of the many leaders. So we have over 40 leaders featured in the book, and it's really like a snapshot, a slice of social history. And instead of including bios, we ask people like, what's your favorite thing to do on a Sunday? And someone said, I go by and I bring my mother flowers. And I'm like, you're so blessed that you get to do that. It's an inside look to these leaders, and it's men and women. This was, the Zubi group that presented this, and we had a champagne and caviar.
Yes, I saw the yacht event. Yeah.
FYI was our partner, and we just featured yes, some women, men, but most of all, everything, there were over 16 industries represented, wow. No more than 2 per. And so we have automotive, we have the yacht, we have someone, like Colin Cowie, who's a partner. I mean, the different people that, are in the book. I mean, it's a real beautiful, eclectic collection of leaders.
That's amazing. And you're bringing them to light, because a lot of times I've learned being in the foundation, in industry, I've learned to meet wonderful people that are giving back to their community, but you didn't even know about them, You're like, I didn't know you. I'm meeting you for the first time, and this is crazy. How do I not know you? You're doing so many great things. And I think bringing them to light is so important because they're doing such good work. And you're doing that through the book and also through Women That Rock, Miami Women That Rock. And you have that wonderful event once a year, the 50 Shades of Pink. 50 Shades of Pink. I wonder where she got that one from, but I like
it. The movie was hot then. I'm pretty creative. I know. So 50 Shades of Pink. We're in our 13th year.
Congratulations. I learned that. Yes.
And that was another pivot because when I'll be I'm very honest. When I first started Miami Women Who Rock, like nobody wanted what I had. It was like it was very different. It would lack it. I really wanted to start something, and it was a real like reinvention of myself. And I always say this that. At one point I was at the top of my career, on top of the world, and then, it all shattered, and out of the rubble emerged a new woman, a woman that had to rock with resilience and reinvent herself. And that was my story, and that I got divorced and, I had to start a whole new life. And part of that was
and that's hard to do.
In a journey of helping other women, I found myself, and I have such a blessed, beautiful life. No drama, but the women that I have in the founder circle, they're the wind beneath my wings.
Amen.
They do anything like it's such a great group. I mean, yesterday we had a gratitude luncheon, and we started with a blessing, and it's not about religion or which it's not this God or that. It's about it for me. It's about just having faith and being able to share. I wake
grateful.
up
just being grateful. Put it out to the energy
practice.
Yeah. Put it out there in the energy within all of you, and it just flows.
Absolutely.
That's one of the most important things. I interviewed someone from Coral Gables Women's Club, and she says you need to surround yourself with women that encourage you every day to continue moving forward. Do you feel like you've been doing that? Because I've been trying to do that every day now.
I do. I mean, I love my life. I love, and it's not a perfect. It's imperfectly perfect, but I just turned 65, and
You look great.
and people say, "Oh, don't say your age." Don't I go, no, I want to say my age because I want every woman out there to know that life begins at 50.
It's true, it does.
I mean, I look at 50, I love football. So 50 is that halftime, and I have a blog, and, I believe that your halftime show is, 50 years old, and, and then, you become an empty nester. I mean, I thought like, when my son just moved to New York 3 months ago, and I thought, oh, like a piece of me left, and, whatever.
I understand that too.
But, we go through, as women, we go through different stages of life, and being able to shift, adapt, and and embrace, whatever it is. Like, I mean, what God doesn't do to me, He does for me. And, I really do feel that way. And I'm not saying that it's every day, but, I pretty much, end up at that feeling.
So what does Emmy do for herself when you do so much, you help the community so much? What do you do for yourself when you need some type of sanity or gratitude? Because us women, we think a lot, and we want to do a lot, but sometimes we have to slow down. What does Emmy need?
Well, there's sometimes when I'm forced on a timeout. I have a vocal cord condition that sometimes they'll take me out for weeks at a time, and so sometimes when I forget to take the time out, life takes it for me. But I do a lot. I work out every day, and, so working out really helps me. I meditate, I start every day with prayer, and I have a God box. And I share that because I love to give it as gifts, and it's kind of one of my there are things that have been challenging or difficult, and it's so much bigger than me. But I have a bigger God, so I'll take it and I'll write it, and I'm like, here we go, not mine. Take that over, and and I really have a very big spiritual practice. And, I have my phone, it's funny, people, when you put out your phone on Do Not Disturb, like maybe a year ago, that meant no one really will, right. I think Apple needs to come out with Do Not Disturb Mega 1 and Mega 2. And so that quiet time that I take for myself in the morning, I get up very early. I go to bed early, but that how I start my day, with the readings and feeding myself spiritually and doing a meditation, working at those things, that's centering myself and starting the day right, is an important part of what I do for myself. And then, of course, I love a good massage here and there, and a good facial here and there.
And tell me, so if people want to go to one of your events, how do they go about it, and how can they get in touch with you if they want to be part of Miami Women That Rock?
So Miami Women Rock has several memberships. We have a CEO circle, we have a founder circle, but most of all, we do a lot of different events in the community. And, in terms of getting involved with us, we have our website, miamiwomenwhorock.org. And, we're really big on Instagram, on Facebook. I mean, we have a pretty significant, authentic social, presence.
It's beautiful.
And, but, most of all, I mean, like right now, the support that we need, our signature event is 50 Shades of Pink. We have our 13th annual. Yeah. And the theme is Pink Havana.
Is it April?
April 30th.
April 30th.
April 30th. And our partner is Luminous Advocacy Project. Breast cancer is, I like to give back to all charities. And, this year was women and children. So I was on the committee for Voices for Children, and I
saw your outfit. I loved it. It was Top Gun, right?
Top Gun.
Yeah.
I went blonde. No one recognized me.
No, it was hard for me. I go, is that Emmy? I think it is. And then there was one selfie, and I'm like, yeah, that's Emmy.
Yeah. But,
This is a great costume.
I love what you're doing. I mean, congratulations. I mean, you know what? There's so many charities.
Thank you.
That saying that they say that, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. I've learned from the best philanthropists, and to me, it's not about, it's not about things and stuff. Yeah, do I like my purses and all that? But, for me, I get so much from giving back and making a difference in the community, and, and surrounding myself, like I have Save the Drama for Your Mama. I'm, I love women like you that are also like, you're not only doing this, but you have your organization, you deliver, and you stand for something.
I started the foundation because I wanted to bring more awareness to our community, but also I've gotten back from it by meeting so many wonderful people, and it helps me move forward every day in my life because I know I'm giving back. Because I feel like we get caught up in the everyday and we forget. And I think if God is giving you such a great life, which I have a great life as well, I feel like it's our responsibility to give back. So I do agree with the way you are. I know you teach your son, I teach my kids as well about giving back, the importance of being able to give back. I always end the show with asking this question for women entrepreneurs that are coming now in the future. And
it's funny being on this side of it. Okay.
It's so,
what's the question?
It's so hard nowadays. There's so much changes consistently. What advice would you give women of tomorrow if they want to start their own business, if they want to change their job? What advice would you give them?
The dream is free.
That's beautiful.
The dream is free. But
did you trademark that too? Copyright that too.
I get to copyright. The dream is free. The hustle is real. So I mean, it's sold separately, and that's what I tell women, because the dream is free, but the hustle is sold separately. So no, I mean, I'm a serial entrepreneur, but when I first went into business for myself and I was leaving MTV and I offered my services at a very big, large retainer price, and they said no. 2 weeks later, I got a business. My first client was E Entertainment, and they were my first rep business. But here's the thing. I had a 2-year-old son at the time. I was getting divorced, and I wanted to start my own business to have freedom. And, I'm going to, be time, with my son. Going into business for yourself is so much commitment. That's not necessarily what I did, So, what I would tell women is exactly that the hustle is sold separately. And there is a cost of doing business. And if you want to start your own thing, do it while you have something else and you have the income, and financially set up your business plan. And, I don't like to use that word side hustle, but, make a plan for your purpose. Right. And if you make a plan with your purpose and a purpose with your plan, you're in good shape.
That's great. That's great advice. It's very hard, but I thinking back of my life, it's very hard. You always have that dream, but it's the hustle at the end of the day. And you have to give yourself also room to say it's okay to make a mistake and learn from it and keep going forward, right?
I was just asked for recently, I'm being named top 50 women to know in Florida. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And and this surprised me. They said to me, what have you learned? Like, what is your biggest thing, success? And I said, my biggest failure has been, my biggest success, and learning from that, because learning how to lean into it and learning that what I learned from it, it's being able to know that we're not perfect, we're going to make mistakes, and to be able to embrace it and learn from it. I mean, what the biggest failure that used to be the heartache in my, and I'm like, well, I learned a great deal from it.
Wow. Thank you for your advice. Thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you for having me.
You are wonderful. Thank you for everything you're doing and all the foundations that you're supporting. Thank you for all those women that you're putting together. I mean, I think a group of women that you're putting together is making wonderful energy for Miami. right?
Thank you so
And I think that's so important. And we need that. We need that more and more. And bringing them to the light so that people know that they're wonderful women doing wonderful things. So thank you, Emmy, for that. And thank you for being here with me today.
Finally, we made this happen.
Yes. And today, believe it or not, tomorrow actually will be a year of Wonder Women. And I had Emmy as my year. So this is a wonderful gift. Thank you so much to the Miller family, the community newspaper, for giving me this opportunity. And thank you for being here with me today. I always finish the show by saying, always, always believe and never give up on hope. I mean, I bring women here to show you that hope is alive. And when you believe and you truly fight for your dreams, they do come true. So thank you again for being here, guys. Have